if one day you feel like you legit like just have fear, right? Or let's say you feel like a friend is betraying you, but he's really not betraying you. You're gonna end up that friendship because you're scared that that friend is betraying you when he's really just not doing anything. Like that friend is just literally like XYZ, you know, like saying like he's just doing his own life, and you're over here, nah, he's planning for my downfall. He's praying for my downfall. He's praying for me to go down bad, bro. And so in that moment, you're like, you distance yourself because you think this about your friend now. And so, you know, like the true thing is that your friend really didn't even think about those things at first. Like he didn't even mention something that you should be worried about. And you're over here very worried about it, right? And it's things like that that I gotta go back. I can't be here. Uh-oh. If I fall, that's gonna be so bad. Okay. Right. Okay. It had to happen. But, okay. So, bro, skeleton, leave me alone, bro. Oh, you have such a bad aim, bro. I swear. Alright. Hi, what's up? So, you know, there are times where you're just gonna be scared, of course. You're gonna be prideful, of course. You're gonna be cocky, of course. You're gonna, you know, be lustful, of course. Like one of my friends put it the best. If I follow my feelings all the time, I'll literally jerk off every day. That's like top tier, straight up philosophy, 100% Aristotle type stuff. And like that was such a good point that he made. Because, you know, a lot of us that struggle with lust know that very well. Bro, get out, bro. Okay, know that very well. That, you know, one moment, you know, if we just fall into that desire, then we're going to fall over again and again and again. And if we have no control over it, then we're going to be slaves to it. And the last thing you want to do is be a slave to it, of course, right? I think everybody at one point doesn't want to be a slave to lust. If you are, and you're like in a cycle and you're repetitive, I don't think you're watching this video for like straight up just no reason. Like I legit feel like you want something to do with your life and you want to recognize some errors you've been having. And so yeah, that's like, I legit feel like that's a awesome thing, right? That's a really, really good thing that you're following with. However, if you keep going after those feelings, going after the same thing that got you hooked into lust, for example, right? And you never try to control it at all, or never try to change your path or correct your ways, then you're just gonna be really stuck to it. And that's gonna destroy your life. I think anybody that can speak as a man regrets, you know, having to be a slave to lust at some point of their life. To be behind lust and be a slave to it. So my friend said it the best. If I fall for my feelings all the time, I legit would be jerking off every 5 seconds. That's literally what he said. So if it happens a lot, perfect example. After you like the post-nut clarity, right? You feel like crap. You legit feel like crap. We all know it. We're all men here, and if you're a woman, that's what happens. You feel like crap. Legit, you feel like crap. You feel like you just did the worst thing ever, and you regret it, and you said like, oh, I'm never gonna do it again. I promise God, I'm never gonna do it again. And so in that moment, you know, it sounds like you get the motivation. You're never gonna do it again, and suddenly, you go do it again at some point. And the same cycle repeats. But if you never try to change that cycle, that's how I broke it, right? I changed that cycle. You know, if you never legit try to change that cycle, then it's not gonna be any good. If you can keep being stuck to your feelings, then you're gonna be a slave to them, right? And so if one day, right, let's say you did post-nut clarity, oh, you feel crap, but the next day you're like, holy cow, I could go for a whole nother round again. Okay, you know, you're a slave to your feelings. You're not really gonna change much. You're just wanting to change, and that's how's it called? Here, I'll give you the definition. That's mental masturbation, where you're thinking to yourself, oh, I'm gonna be this type of person, right? I'm gonna be this type of person, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna get out of this. One day I'm gonna change and stuff like that. But you're really not. You're really not changing. You thinking you are changing. You thinking you're becoming better, but you're really not. And so, it's so important. It's so important to know that if you're being guided based on your if one action from your feelings took you to one action and you follow your feelings again, it's likely that we're watching your downfall as we speak. Okay, that's what happened with post-nut clarity, right? You feel good for a moment, the next moment you don't feel, you feel crap, and in the next moment you just are thinking to yourself, why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that. That's so messed up. And so, like, to be completely honest, it's like, brother, you know, if you're gonna keep following this way, if you're really never gonna change, then what's the good of saying that you're gonna change next time if you really know that you said that 20 times ago and you haven't changed? So, are you slaves to your feelings? It's a very important part to know. Are you slaves to your feelings? Because if you are, there's a lot to fix, a lot to change, and a lot to learn, right? Just, it doesn't happen one day to the other night. Okay? So, then, like, to put it this way, right? Basically all I said. If there was a surgeon, right, doing surgery on you, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna take all the practical stuff that I ever learned and I'm gonna do exactly how I think is best, right? Like, he not using anything he learned, all right? Would you rather him not use anything he learned and straight up do whatever bullcrap he wants to do, or would you want him to do what he learned at school? If you're answering that he wants you to, like, he should follow his feelings in your body that you're likely to die, well, that sounds like you have some awesome trust, no boundaries stuff like this, and we have to put a video about that, having boundaries. I think that should be a next topic. I don't know what you'll think about that, but I honestly think that's a really good topic to have soon or anytime we have a chance. I hate fighting because I always gotta concentrate, but I believe, right? Okay, let me get out, man. Oh, can you fall damage? Thank you. Alright, catch me if you can, bro. Oh, shoot. Okay, I can stand right here. So, yes, like I was saying, you're gonna give up? That's crazy. Oh, okay, you were baiting. Alright. If you really don't think a surgeon should go for his feelings just because he thinks he's confident that he's not gonna follow anything he learned, in that case, I'd be really, really worried if he's gonna do that. Like, I don't even think I'll take surgery, right? If knowing there's like a 50% chance I'm dying, right? I don't think I'm gonna take the surgery if he's just gonna do based on whatever he wants to do. And I don't think much people will do. So if you wouldn't follow a surgeon based on, oh my goodness, had to happen, bro. I don't even want your call anymore. If you're gonna follow a surgeon, if you're not gonna follow a surgeon based on his feelings and how he feels about things, why are you gonna trust your whole life about feelings that you're not even sure about yourself? One day they tell you you're worthless, and the next day they tell you you're like the best person ever, and that you should commit the same things that made you feel like crap before. This is so. Get out! Get away! Get away! Why are there so many zombies? Nice, thank you. What's up? Hey, bro. Keep the distance, bro. Keep the distance. Keep the distance. Oh my god. Thank you. So yeah, that's very important, dude. How are you trusting your whole life to your feelings when you wouldn't trust your life to somebody who's following their feelings? That sounds super contradictory. That sounds extremely dumb, right? And so, talking about that, how many times have like you defend your feelings? Like How many times have you like said, no, it's because I feel this, it's because I feel that, I don't think so this, I don't think of that. Like, let's say you really thought a girl was into you, and this is where I'm at right now. A girl is really into you, right? And you tell your boys, and he's like, nah, bro, bro, you don't even talk to her, you're chopped, bro. Like, you're chopped. Like, we all know that you're ugly ass, and no one likes you, bro. Like, straight up, like, what you been talking about, you're capping. And you're like, nah, bro, but like, she said, how's it called? That she liked my haircut, bro, and like this and that, bro, and that she passed me the homework the other day. Okay, look, based on what I'm saying, obviously she's not into you, right? Or we don't know, but it sounds likely like it's not, right? And so you're making all these conclusions and you're feeling like all this way, oh, she's into me, I love her, whatever, this and that. And the next day, you see her pull up with a new boyfriend, right? And then you realize, well, she wasn't really into me. And then you go again and you trust the same feelings that led you into that. He's like, bruh, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? You couldn't trust it the first time. Well, he did not die. Okay, so, I mean, to keep going with this, like, how many times have, like, you defended feelings? Like, honestly, just with friends, like, you didn't trust them. Have you ever had, like, a friend, literally, this happens, like, all the time, bro. I'm with a friend, and he's, like, saying, like, nah, bro, like, I don't believe that's the answer, bro. You're wrong about that. And because he feels that that's not the answer, and it turns out to be the answer, he's like, oh, my bad, bro. Like, I actually call you stupid and stuff. And, like, you actually had the right answer, bro. My bad. Is that? And so, he's literally saying, like, I had the right answer, but this whole time he was making fun of me because he thought I was stupid because I didn't have the right answer, right? And, like, you know, he has the right to justify himself as much as he wants, right? You're so annoying. Goodness gracious. Right? He has the right to justify himself. But the fact that he's gonna keep doing it, right? Even though he was wrong, and obviously my friend was like, oh, my bad, bro, I did you wrong. But if you're gonna keep going through life, then you're gonna be like, you know, I was not that wrong. You know, I'm not wrong. I was right. It's just it didn't happen my way. And stuff like that. And you're not really seeing that you were actually wrong. You just keep falling into the same patterns that don't work. And until you learn that lesson, you're gonna keep falling into the same pattern. Just because you're gonna keep doing the same things that don't work. And so, like, let me tell you, you wanna have a good life, and you should probably stop following these patterns that don't lead you to anywhere in life. So be careful when you defend how you felt before and it didn't go your way, because if it didn't go your way, it shows a lot about who you are, right? It shows really how you were wrong, and even though you were wrong, you don't want to improve your life because it hurts you to think that you were wrong. So be careful with that. Be careful doing that stuff, right? Be careful thinking that because you are right and it just was a moment of unluckiness, you can get to keep doing the same thing. Because I promise you, a mistake's gonna lead to another, and like we said, a feeling's gonna lead to another feeling, and you're gonna be in a horrible spot, a spot you don't want to be in, right? And until you don't learn the lesson, you're gonna keep committing the same acts, and you're gonna be in the same position you are now. That's period. That's facts. Until you don't learn the lesson, you're gonna keep committing the same acts, and the same circumstances will happen. If you do the same things over and over again, why do you expect different results, right?